Hey, what's up, y'all? Hold on, let me take the sunnies off. I want to thank you, Eye to Eye, for checking out Sway's Universe. And I appreciate it. We got so many videos we want you to see, so push that notification button for me. Do it now and enjoy the video. Peace.
This is Sway. Sway.
Sway.
Sway.
In the morning.
In the morning.
In the morning. Shake that fire. Wake your fuck ass up. Crust out your eyes.
Sway in the morning, Shade 4-5. We've actually been planning for this moment right here. You know, I have to say, man, I first fell in love with this guy as a youth when I first saw Starman, and I watched that movie a good 50 times, man. I just fell in love with the way this man portrayed what an alien would be like on the planet Earth. Because it reminded me of my Uncle Rob. And I always knew we came from another planet. But he went on to do so much great work. I want to bring DB on this because DB is such a big fan of his before we say who we have in the studios. DB, some of the highlighted films that stand out in your mind when you look at this face that's in our building.
Well, let me see. We can start off with one of my personal favorites, Tron, because I am a sci-fi fan.
Okay.
The Big Lebowski, which is, I mean, come on, like there's festivals built around this character right now.
Yeah.
There's Blown Away, in which he started with his father, Lloyd Bridges, which is a great movie. Fabulous Baker Boys, you start with his brother, Bo Bridges. And I got to ask you about that. I have a question about that, but we'll get to that later. Arlington Road, Sway. We talked about Arlington Road a while because it brought a light to a theory about what happens to these people who are portrayed as, you know, terrorists, and, you know, could it be something else behind that's going on? So I don't know, man. There's so many movies.
Seabiscuit, you got to say Seabiscuit.
All right, Seabiscuit.
Okay,
yes.
all right.
The movie last year he just did that he was nominated for an Oscar for. I mean, there's so many movies.
Wow.
Jeff Bridges, man.
Jeff Bridges, there you go, Jeff.
Good being here, man.
Jeff, man. Yeah. When I think about your career and do you watch all your movies? Have you watched?
I have at least once.
At least once.
Yeah,
you got to go to the premieres, right?
Got to figure out how it all pasted together. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in such a different time period. When I think of when Starman came out, not that was your first piece of work, but that's where I discovered you. And you think about 2017, how even the business of movies and film has changed.
Yeah.
Have you had to adjust to that? What do you think about it today when you look at the Netflix and all these different?
It is so wild. It has changed a lot. And it's kind of remained the same too. You know, there's aspects to it. It's still pretty damn primitive in a weird way. You know, we're going to get into this virtual reality thing in a moment, man.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned Tron. Now that should be the first virtual reality movie, don't you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, they actually use a digitized version of the younger version of yourself in Tron Legacy.
I am sucked into the computer. They got me, man. They got my digital information. I'm in there, man. This is like kind of the end of my profession in a way. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, they'll be able to, you know, take a little of me, a little of him scanned in there, a little of him, a little mix it up,
And then they won't
push a button, and
they won't need the actual actor no more.
no.
You think that's possible? You think that can happen?
I think so. I mean, I know it's possible, but I don't know if it's going to happen. I hope not. But I think us living human beings, we're the best special effect going. Don't you think?
In the flesh,
we don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah.
You know,
when I look at
surprise.
the car industry now, they got these cars that are going to be, you know, remote control driven cars, and you ain't gonna need.
Oh man, it's gonna get weird, and it's getting weirder faster than it has been, hasn't it? I mean, it's just bizarre.
You on the net a lot? You on the internet a lot?
Do what?
Do you surf the internet a lot?
I do.
Yeah.
It's that Google. You know, I get Google surf. You know, it's that column on the right hand side. Right. That I can't help it.
Do you Google?
Terrible.
Do you Google yourself? Have you done that before?
I have. I got it.
What's the strangest thing you read?
Oh God, I can't remember. That's another thing. There's so much information. I can't hold it. I can only hold so much, and then I dump. I can't remember stuff.
Yeah, same.
I don't know.
Well, Jeff Bridges is here, man. I'm amazed that you're even here, man. Give him another round of applause. I'm gonna let John from Cali ask a question. Go ahead, John. What you want to say to Jeff Bridges?
Johnny.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Jeff, dude, huge fan, always have been. My father-in-law looks exactly like you. I swear to God, every time I see him, I want to offer him a White Russian. Dude. So I just want to tell you, man, you are one of the most underrated actors of all time. You're phenomenal, dude. Love your shit. You're the fucking man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Very eloquently put.
Yeah.
How do you, at this stage in the game, we're here to talk about the film The Only Living Boy in New York, which hits theaters this Friday, which is a really, really interesting film about, and before we get into the plot of it, how do you pick roles? Like, how do you are you very selective now, or just whatever money comes?
I really try hard not to work, not to engage, because I know what it takes. You can't do a lot of other stuff that you dig doing. It takes you away from your family, and all the the work that goes into it and stuff. So I really try hard not to participate. And then if the thing is too cool, like this movie here, the story got me. I get sucked in. It reminds me of that. What was that? It was a Godfather 3. What's the Pacino line?
Every time I try to get out,
they suck me back. That's what I feel like. But I'm glad to be sucked in. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I had a great time on this one.
Yeah.
We got this young guy, Callum Turner, in this movie. Who I think we're going to be hearing a lot from him. He's a wonderful actor. The movie's filled with wonderful actors. We got Pierce Brosnan in
Kate Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale.
She's a piece of work.
Cynthia Nixon. Oh, yeah. Wonderful. Yeah.
Kate Beckinsale. Boy,
yeah,
she's
man,
sexy in this movie.
Yeah.
You should have seen this dress that she was wearing last night, man. Woo.
Just what it looked like.
Well, it was like this. It was like this long, down to the ground, lacy thing, and then she had those heels. I don't know how you guys do it, but like that, and then it was all this. It was see through, She said, "Check out my knickers," and and she's proud, showing her underpants that you can see through there. And I thought, oh yeah, nice.
Did you check them out? You didn't feel like
can't help it, man.
All right, Jeff Bridges has said Cameron is from Colorado. Go ahead, Cameron. What'd you like to say?
Hey, how's it going, Sway? Everybody. Good morning, Mr. Bridges.
How you doing?
I was wondering, how do you feel about a religion being based off of your character in the Big Lebowski, Dudism?
Yeah,
I think that's
Dudism.
really cool.
Yeah. Well, I can kind of understand it, I was at a dinner quite a while ago, maybe 15 years ago or so, and I'm sitting between Ram Dass, you know who that guy is, Be Here Now, the guy who wrote that book, Be Here Now. And on the other side of me is this guy, Bernie Glassman, who is a Zen master, right? Okay. And Bernie leans over to me and he says, "You realize in many Buddhist circles, the dude is considered a Zen master." Okay. I said, "What are you talking about? We never talked any of the spiritual stuff when we were shooting that movie." He goes, "Oh yeah, it's filled with modern day koans." You know what a koan is?
What's a koan?
A koan it's like I guess you could call it a riddle, sort of. It's like, what's the sound of one hand clapping is kind of a famous, one, that kind of thing. You can't just come up with a fancy answer. You got to kind of experience it. He says it's filled with modern day koans. I said, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Well, who wrote and directed the movie? The Koan brothers, man."
Oh my God!
And so Bernie says, "I want to bring, some Buddhist thoughts into modern times, and this movie's filled with modern day koans." I said, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Oh yeah." I said, "Like what?" He says, "Well, the dude abides. That's a Buddhist thing, man." I said, "Oh yeah, okay." I said, "What else?" He goes, "You can swear here, right?"
Yeah, go try it. See what
He says, "Shut the fuck up, Donnie." I say, "That's a koan?" He goes, "Oh, absolutely." Or his favorite, and kind of mine, he says, "That's just like your opinion, man." That's a koan.
That's a koan.
That's a good koan, don't you think, man? Because you gotta, think about that. It's not only their opinions, but your own opinion. It's just an opinion, man. It's not the truth or anything like that. It's just your story, right? Yeah. So anyway, he says to me, "Let's write a book." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Let's write a book about the Zen stuff in the Big Lebowski." So we did. We wrote a book called "The Dude and the Zen Master," and we sat up in my place up in Montana and wrote this, this book.
Wow.
I don't know how I got it. What was that guy's question?
No. You gotta understand, this dude is like the biggest fan of the movie right here. So right now,
you hip to the book? No.
I actually went to maybe not the book, but the movie. I'm more of a movie guy. I'm not really reading much, but
he doesn't read. He just watch.
I can read. It's just I choose to watch a movie instead. Don't make me sound stupid, damn it. But I actually wanted to ask you about The Only Living Boy in New York, because this movie is the story is very complex. There's a lot going on, and I like that you have to pretty much watch the entire thing in order to understand what happens in the end. If you miss even 5 minutes of it, you're going to miss like certain plot points. But there's also an underlying opinion about how New York has changed over the years. And I feel it kind of mirrors my own opinion of how Hollywood has changed over the years. Like
everywhere's changed.
Right. I mean, the world in general has changed.
That gentrification thing, it's going all over the place.
Killing the soul.
But you know, do you think, I don't know. I'm not a New Yorker, so maybe I'm off on this. But Central Park has kept the vibe. I don't know. What do you think? Is that wrong?
No, Central Park. I mean,
for as long as I've been coming here, this has basically the same thing.
It's unchanged. It's unchanged.
Has it changed?
No.
It's the same
pretty
kind
unchanged.
of thing. Yeah.
But I think overall, because the movie talks about how the artistic vibe in New York that used to be, people used to come here, and you had CBGBs, you had all these venues and outlets for people to express themselves that aren't around anymore. And I appreciated that being interjected into the film, because I do miss some of the places that used to be here.
Yeah, well, I agree, but I think the fact that there's a lack in that stuff will hopefully inspire people to fill up that space and get it going again. Isn't that kind of what happens? I think.
Jeff,
I don't know. Don't you think? I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I'm living in back to the gentrification. I'm living in a gentrified neighborhood right now. It's lost a lot of character.
Yeah,
a lot of personality, but you kind of got to embrace what's new that's coming in at the same time. Plus, the property value is going skyrocketed, Jeff. I'm about to benefit off of that, baby.
Yeah,
Come on, Jeff.
Yeah, right.
That's important.
Yeah, what is it? You got to get some weird gentrified soul happening. I don't know what that is. I don't know. It's kind of an oxymoron.
Yeah, right. Gentrified soul.
Might be onto something.
Yeah.
So the movie. So the character that you play. This is it's like a big secret throughout the whole movie, right?
Yeah. I find it so tricky doing what we're doing here. This is like the Barker at the Carousel part of my gig. Trying to get people to come to the show. But I love going to the movies, and any movie that I want to see, I want to know as little about it as I possibly can. So I don't want to say
you don't want to say too much,
except it's a good one.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
It's the kind I like to be in that sucks me in. I'm saying how I try to push away. One where the filmmakers are ahead of you. You think you've got it figured out, and but even saying that's too much.
It's too much, Jeff. You're giving up way too much.
Yeah.
What are you doing up here promoting a movie?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you doing, Jeff?
Exactly. Well, I wanted to come. I wanted to come to see it.
I appreciate you, man.
I got a question because he mentioned Montana. I have a friend who's been trying to get me. Her name is Brooke. Try to get me to come to Missoula.
Oh yeah.
What?
That's where my wife went to school.
What's in Montana?
Mountains.
Yes.
Beautiful. You been to Montana?
No, but
no. God, well, you gotta go. It's so great. It's almost as big as California. It's only got 1 million people there.
Really?
But Montana only has 1 million people?
Yeah. It's a pretty cool place. Yeah, it's great.
We got to get to Montana.
Just stare at mountains?
You go fishing. It's a lake.
You'll see it's something that, they say big sky. You hear the big sky.
Yeah.
It is. The sky looks bigger. And and the clouds, everything's it's a really unusual place. Yeah, I did quite a few movies there, and first movie I did, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot with Clint Eastwood. And I bought a motorcycle and was riding motorcycles up there, and I had a great time. Met my wife up there.
Oh yeah, well, it's good. And let me ask you, after seeing Starman, and this might sound crazy, I know I'm going back to this, but after that, I start doing a lot of like following alien, theory and and conspiracy and all these different things. To this day, I watch Ancient Aliens on like National Geographic.
I get sucked into that.
You get sucked into that too?
Yeah, a bit. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Is there something there?
Back, going way back, like in maybe the early 70s, I hung out with a guy named John Lilly. Do you know who that? Does that ring a bell to anybody? John Lilly. No, okay. He's the guy who invented the isolation tank. Okay. The sensory deprivation. Like what happens to your mind, your thoughts when you're not getting any information? It's like a big, big coffin. It's like maybe 4.5 feet wide. 7 feet long, about 4 or 5 feet high, filled with water and 1,000 pounds of salt, 98.6, and you float in there. And it's amazing what goes on in your mind when you don't have any information coming in. That was just one of his things. The other thing he was into was communicating with dolphins.
Okay.
Right. Now, this is getting back to your alien thing. We're always thinking about aliens as here we got these animals living on our planet with brains bigger than ours, the same way that ours are bigger than monkeys, and we're not talking to these guys. We're not hanging out. These minds walking around. They don't have any possessions. Talk about gentrification, man. Let's talk about soul, man. Woo. Can you imagine?
So the possibilities are limited.
Gosh.
Yeah. The possibility.
Yeah, and whales and all those guys, these huge brains, and we're not hanging with these guys. Come on.
Okay.
I don't know. That kind of,
that helped me.
About it,
I think that's actually, I was just watching a doc about that just recently about how much of our ocean's floor has never been explored.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so I could relate to it, Jeff.
Yeah.
I could see you and me in the mountains of Montana meditating.
Man.
Do you smoke or anything?
I do that sometimes,
Okay.
You?
I would with you, Jeff Bridges. You're absolutely right, Jeff. But look, this is a movie worth everyone tuned into our voices to see. We broadcast worldwide. The Only Living Boy in New York in theaters this Friday. Starring Jeff Bridges, who's here with us today,
Great
man.
hanging with you guys.
Man, welcome to Sway in the Morning, man. You're a citizen, Jeff.
All right.
Appreciate you, man. Up next, we got Celebrity Wire.
Yeah, but someone wants to give their 14-year-old some oral sex for their birthday.
All right. Hey, this a hit record. What a little bit of love can do by Jeff Bridges.
It's Sway in the Morning, only on Shea 45. Kilo.